Hi, I'm Mason Wooldridge. Welcome to If You Live It. Welcome to this video on gratitude. Quick recap, this is the last video of the first 3 months where we built a catalog for anyone desiring a modern pathway to God, a modern pathway to enlightenment, a modern pathway to filling your life full of love. Over 600,000 people have watched our videos on YouTube. Over 50,000 people around the world have come back to the website, ifyouliveit.com, checked it out, read the blog. This thing is exploding, and it's exploding in such an exciting way because it's all about God. It's all about your journey to truth. It's all about finding joy and happiness in your life. Again, this video is on gratitude. Timestamps. First timestamp is gratitude. What is it? Why is it important? Second timestamp, step 10, where we look to make a daily inventory of where we have wronged someone and how we can go make that right, person, place, thing, or institution. The next timestamp is on a daily contact with God. How do we do it? How do we keep it? How do we live our life like a prayer? The last timestamp is agreeing to take this thing out there for people who ask to go through it and want to know more about God. Step 12. Big video, big week. Get busy living. Enjoy this video. If it's not for you, freely pass along. If it is for you, dive into it. And if this is for you, if gratitude is for you, this whole journey is for you. Peace and love. I'm out of here. Hi, welcome to If You Live It. I am Mason Wooldridge, the author of this book, If You Live It, the creator of this channel, the founder of this community. Today we have a video on gratitude. You have found, If You Live It, a pathway to freedom where we have gone through surrender, forgiveness, and now gratitude as part of this 3-part series on 3 corresponding Fridays. Every Friday, we release a video on YouTube that has to do with a spiritual truth, a religious truth, something that's practical, that you can apply to your life, that will guide you in the direction of more truth present in your life, that will push you in a direction of more God present in your life, more love present in your life, more connection present in your life. This entire channel is continuing to boom. The website, If You Live It, is continuing to boom. The entire book of If You Live It is now available online for free to you 2 months before it ever comes out as a book. Or like 5 or 6 weeks, before it ever comes out as a book. 6, 7 weeks, something in there. The point is, the book, this pathway is really designed to deliver you to the doorway of enlightenment. That's what this entire thing is. It is a modern pathway to enlightenment. It is an entire journey that you can walk down with your feet in the right direction, heading towards God, heading towards truth, heading towards love, heading towards a connection with the divine, heading towards a freedom from all aspects of the ego, the lower mind, fears, and all their forms. It is for you. And it will live online for free forever. No boundary, no hurdle. You can go to it. We've created an entire resource on ifyouliveit.com under the catalog function where you can go right to the book and you have all the chapters. You can go right to these conversations all in one place. You can go right to Delivered Devotion, the weekly blog that is daily contemplational for you. And you can go to the collection piece under catalog, and it's all of it in one place. This entire 3 months has been an experiment to get and build a catalog that could serve as an online sponsor for those going through this program who don't want to work the program otherwise, who need a helping hand from all angles about what is surrender, what is forgiveness, what is gratitude, and then the next video, what is service, because really gratitude and service go hand in hand. And in this program, the 4 keys to this pathway of reaching the doorway of enlightenment, of becoming unconditional love for the world around you, for reaching sainthood, Buddhahood, Christhood, however you want to call it, is surrender, forgiveness, gratitude/service. We use the pathway of the mind, the pathway of the heart, the pathway of devotion, the pathway of service, the getting out of the way pathway, being in the world but not of it, living your life like a prayer pathway. That's what If You Live It is. That's what's available to you here for free every Friday, but also on the website forever. This book, this collection of information is so powerful because it's not Mason delivering it to you, creating it, making it up as he goes along. I am but a channel for you, for these words, for God to speak directly through this being, to deliver this information to you. Wherever you find yourself, you don't have to be any particular religion to benefit from any of this. And as a matter of fact, if you don't have a religion, that's just as fine too. It doesn't matter where you come from religiously. It doesn't matter where in the world you come from, what you look like, what clothes you wear, what your job is, what you've done in the past, what you'll do in the future. This entire thing is a gift for the world to be a message unlike any other message that reaches millions. That's what this is. At the root of what I have been called to do in this world is to be a preacher, a pastor, a teacher, whatever term you want to use to talk about God, to talk about the realities of truth present with God, with consciousness, with love, from Jesus, from Krishna, from the Buddha, from Lao Tzu, from you name it. If it is applicable, it's for you, and you can find it here. We lovingly point back to Dr. David R. Hawkins and his map and scale of consciousness all the time as that which is a backdrop for us to understanding an evolution towards God, a scale that we can chart our own progress on. It is one of the greatest gifts given to mankind in modern history, which is this map and scale of consciousness. Dive into it yourself. We're not going to put it up on the screen or use it here as anything other than something we point back to as a resource to understand kind of what it is you're going through, what it is, where you find yourself, what it is you can go. This entire thing is an evolution towards God, towards unio mystico, a union with God, a union with the divine. That is why we are here for this gift of choice, to choose God or not, to choose love or not, to choose a connection or not, to choose a higher path or not. You have all kinds of things that you have no idea are taking place around you, all kinds of helping hands that are taking place out of your line of sight, an entire life that you agreed upon to come into this physicality that you don't have any recollection of. That's all pointing you in the path towards God, because the truth is there is nothing outside of God. We are not sinful, fallen creatures forever separated from God. We are spiritual aspects having a human experience that have been basically created as a locality of consciousness, which is seemingly illusory, separating from us from God. In words, we can't quite describe what we are, other than the easiest way to say it is we are a spark of that which created us, entirely of that which created us, with all the creative potential and power of that which created us, constantly evolving in this place towards choosing that which created us, or finding unhappiness as the byproduct. The reality is you either choose God, chase after God in any way that a pathway presents that you choose to walk down, and you have the opportunity for more happiness, joy to be present in your life, more love to be abounding in your life, more light to fill up your life, or you have more fear, more worry, more depression, more anxiety, more guilt, more shame, more greed, more apathy, more grief, more pride, more anger, more cravingness, desiringness, wantingness. The world will not fill up that God-sized hole you have inside of your being except with more God, more service, more surrender, more forgiveness, more gratitude. What we have here today is the last 3 steps of If You Live It that we're going to use as the basis for our timestamps to finish out this particular Friday video on gratitude. But a little more before we jump into that. What is gratitude? Why does it matter? Is it something you can experience? Is it something you have to pretend to come from? Or is it an actual reality, an actual lens for witnessing the world around you? Before everything changed for this person speaking to you, and if you go back to the video on diving deeper into peace, there is an entire conversation about the reality of God presenting itself, about the doorway of enlightenment opening, about what takes place when all has been surrendered and forgiven and transcended, and you have the opportunity to exchange what you believe yourself to be for a subjective reality that presents anything other than what you believe yourself to be. If you have any desire to know what that looks like, go look at the book, go look at the video, Diving Deeper into Peace. That's on this YouTube page that you can find in our collection through the catalog. You can find in the collection through the catalog entitled The Conversations. Dive into it. Here we are not going to talk about states of enlightenment. Here we are not going to talk about the final doorway or what it's like when God presents an infinite nature of God to you as that which is love, or a field of consciousness where all is God and that's all that's present. Today we are going to talk a little bit more about gratitude. And the reason this entire thing got brought up here in the last 2 minutes is because before everything changed, before there was a witness of divinity that's present today, I pretended to be grateful. And that's where most of the world finds itself. Interestingly enough, in the world of science, the world of brain science, in the world of neuroscience, practicing gratitude has dramatically positive impacts on the brain. Even just pretending, just creating a gratitude list, being intentional with your time and putting down on paper what it is that you're grateful for has this unbelievably positive effect on the brain, on your entire neurochemical balance. So even if you're going to fake it, this is a great thing to fake. Gratitude is a great thing to fake. For the longest time, I thought you had to fake it because I wasn't actually grateful. I had moments of it. I had bits and spurts of it. I'd be grateful for a romantic partner. I'd be grateful for getting something, or I'd be grateful for a raise, or I'd be grateful for, and really what that is little bits and spurts of appreciation. It's not actual gratitude. Faking gratitude isn't actual gratitude either, but like I said, the brain reacts to it in a positive way regardless if you're faking it or not. So like was stated, this is a great thing to fake it before it is you, if that's the case. But actual gratitude is a lens with which you can operate within the world. It is legitimately going to bed at night, and before going to bed, being actually grateful for a roof over your head, for a pillow to lay your head on, for food inside of your belly, for the creature comforts and the needs of this world being provided to you without even knowing how those things have been provided. When everything changed for me, I was instructed to give everything away and hit the road at an RV and not really know what was coming next. And over the course of the couple years after hitting the road in that RV, an entire world started presenting itself as far as linearly what was going to take place. But internally and externally, I was asked many times to go down below the poverty level, below nothingness, to having less than $0 in the bank account, and to live in this RV at rest stops and to basically couch surf while kind of this world was representing itself as what was going to come next for this persona, speaking to you business-wise, life-wise, financially-wise, all of it. And in this time, when there was nothing, still all needs were met. And that's where this gratitude was experienced for the first time, where it was a reality. And it was a reality based on knowing that God is all there is. The gratitude comes from no longer believing that I am in control of anything, that Mason is doing anything. It comes in the form of finishing these steps and seeing that one of the things that separates a regular experience of God from this person here is not finishing things and redefining what success was for this person. And for this person, the entirety of how I define success is in finishing. And what that looks like is today there is no filter that blocks a constant dialogue from the Spirit of God in this internal being. There is nothing stopping a conversation with what we come from. And in that is a constancy of inspired ideas, inspired books. This entire thing came from that internal dialogue of ushering and pushing forward the need to have this book completed, if you live it, this video catalog created here on YouTube, the website built, the meeting starting in April. This entire thing has been coming through me as an inspired idea that I had to do. And I put it off for a while out of fear. No matter how close you grow to God, no matter what the reality of God is that's at your present moment, you still have to deal with fears. You still have to deal with stimuli arising into awareness. The only difference is it's no longer singular and personal. It's plural and out of the collective. And in this, I finally said yes to God, which is the culmination of these videos. The way that I serve God today is by serving you as a teacher, a spiritual teacher, a guide, someone who's been there that's reporting back the views and telling you how you yourself can walk down them to have your own experience of God imminent in your life as a reality present subjectively right now, everywhere you see, everyone you touch, every hand you hold, every face you glance at. Everything is God. You just don't see it. You see yourself as separate from it. That is the entire role of the ego mind, which is where the subtitle, If You Live It, A Pathway to Freedom, comes from. A pathway to freedom from the ego, from your enslavement and you're being hypnotized by the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are presented through the mind. And we've looked at surrender as part one of this series, where we looked at the first 3 steps of this program, of this 12-step program that's recontextualized from Alcoholics Anonymous into this form to transcend the ego, your thoughts, your mind, your feelings, your emotions, the byproducts of the mind. Ego, mind, same thing. Then we looked at forgiveness in the last video predating this one on the Friday before this, which was all about the 6 steps in between. And then this video, we're going to look at the 3. So to encapsulate all that was said is gratitude is an actual place you can come from. And when you are emanating a grateful state, there is nothing but happiness and freedom and joy present as a reality. There's no longer the belief that you are the fears or the stimuli that arises that is coming out of the collective. There is no longer a belief that you are separate from God. There is no longer a fear of death. There is no longer a fear of abandonment. There's no longer any of these underlying fears that the ego grabs onto and then tells stories about until the ego can finally be dissolved. And you can have transcended the mind, which means that you no longer operate from a place of linear progression. You are now coming from a nonlinear perspective of the world. You're coming more from the witnesser and observer angle, lens of awareness. No longer the singular experiencer, cut off from a much grander view. Now, today, gratitude is a reality. Gratitude for the gifts that come into this life, not because I wanted them, not because I chased after them, but because of whatever comes next is perfect. It's a perfect expression of God delivering whatever is needed next in this particular life to take this particular life wherever it's needed to go next. There are things happening that are so beautiful right now in this channel, in this series, in this book. It's humbling. I'm grateful for you watching this. I'm grateful for if you've made it to this part in the video. We have trends taking place now where there are not just a few, but hundreds and over 1,000 regularly checking back in on these videos. At this point in time, it's close to 600,000 people have watched these videos on this YouTube channel. It's close to 50,000, if not more than that at this point in time, that have come back to the website and started reading things on the website and looking through it and using it. And we haven't even started these in-person meetings yet. This entire thing, again, is a catalog for you. So you have a legitimate way to know God in this lifetime if you choose to work this modern pathway towards enlightenment. It's for you. It's for the world. It's for your family, your community. It's for your business. So let's jump into steps 10, 11, and 12. And let's look at each one individually as how it can be a benchmark, how it can be a practical application of a spiritual principle towards coming from a place of gratitude, towards building gratitude, towards being gratitude. Okay, so let's look at step 10 of this program of If You Live It, A Pathway to Freedom. 12 steps that can take you all the way to the doorway of enlightenment. It's up to your karma, your intent, and your willingness to not stop until God presents the eternal nature of God. Once you've worked this program, it's up to those last things. Are you willing to chase after God without anything else taking a priority over it. If you are, your entire life will change. You will arrive at a place of unconditional love as a byproduct of working this program integrally and diving into this community, serving your community, serving God by serving man around you, to where you will have an opportunity to allow God to pull you through that doorway. But it doesn't come with half measures. It's not easy. When you surrender, you forgive, and you come from a place of gratitude, and you serve God by serving man and the world around you and your family and everything else we've talked about, it brings up all the fears, all the worries, all the anxieties, all your attachments, all your aversions from not just this lifetime, but all lifetimes. The life of a truly spiritual practitioner is not easy. It is often fraught, because in order to see God, you have to see everything that's ever come in between that's created this illusion of separateness. It is lifetimes of evolution coming up for you to surrender over. You have to surrender over your attachment to the world, to lust, to money, to getting, to greed, to power, to life itself. This journey can be something, a journey towards God is the ultimate journey, regardless of it being hard at times. There is nothing more worthwhile than the view of seeing God unfold in such a way that all is changed forever, and you realize what you are has always existed, has never existed, and will forever exist in a way far different than what you think you are right now or you see in the mirror. Step 10. Endeavor to do both daily. Take personal inventory, and where I'm wrong, quickly admit it. By this part of the program, we've gone through surrender. We've surrendered our life over to God, to a power greater than ourselves. We've gone through forgiveness, where we saw where we wronged others, where we made an amends for that. We also gave it all over to God in the process. And we've arrived at a place where it's about having and creating and keeping a conscious contact with God, aka coming from a place of gratitude. What does it look like for me? This endeavor to do both daily, take personal inventory, and where I'm wrong, quickly admit it. Once you have made your amends, your entire side of your street is cleaned, and there's a blank slate. But what happens is the mind will continually create positions, judgments, resentments. It will talk about people. It will gossip. You'll still make decisions that, at the end of the day, you have to investigate and see, were they out of love? Were they out of fear? That's really how you can start. At the end of the day, before going to bed, if you just lay there with your eyes closed and you say, Lord, please let me see what I did today that impacted someone or something else negatively, and allow that to come in, and then surrender over the judgment of yourself for taking part in that, and then say, God, how can I make this right tomorrow? And where you have done something to intentionally hurt or wrong another, the next day, if not that night, but the next day, go to that person, write them a message, tell them what you did, ask for their forgiveness. Keep your street clean. So every day, at least at night, the reality is it's all day long. Anytime a thought arises, anytime a feeling and emotion arises that's getting picked up out of the collective, that's rooted in fear or judgment or shame or guilt, or that's a condemnation, or that's positionality, or that's a resentment, it gets surrendered over in the moment. So throughout the day, this entire 10-step is being accomplished. And the way it's surrendered over is it's watched. And then it's investigated. What is this? Where is this coming from? What is at the root of it? How does it need to be surrendered over? Are there attachments and aversions coming out of the collective that need to be surrendered as well? And then it's given to God. And then where an amends needs to be made, it's made. The call is made. The text is made. The asking for forgiveness is made. No matter where you are, how close you are to God, what your subjective reality is, you still have a persona. You still have this body. You still have a brain. You still have neurotransmitters that will point you towards anger at times, that will point you towards aggression or agitation. Because if you're not eating correctly, if you're not sleeping well, if you're putting chemicals in your body from food or otherwise that are deleterious to you, they create a propensity towards an interaction with the world where you are impulsive, where decisions are made to get. And this is what we look at daily. So at the very least, at nighttime, before you go to bed, I'm down on my knees and I'm praying to thee, O Lord. I surrender this day over. Thank you for the gifts of this day, the blessings of this day, for who you are, for what this is. Please forgive me for where I'm falling short. Please allow me to surrender over the positions and not hold positionality over another. Please forgive me of my judgments. I love you. Thank you for loving me more. And then it comes into, where do I need to forgive tomorrow? Where do I need to ask for forgiveness tomorrow? Where do I need to make something right? And then go make it right. It doesn't matter what the ego is going to say to you of, oh, you should be ashamed, you should be embarrassed. If this person's going to laugh at you, you're going to really mess something up. Because it's not about them and it's not about your ego. It's about being able to come face to face with God from a place of gratitude for making something right the next day, for not repeating that same thing again the next day and the next day and the next day, not hiding from it. When we don't make things right that we know we have done, we hide from them. And when we hide from them, they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we're scared of them. And now we have a new emotion, a new feeling state that needs to be worked through. That's what this step is about, not creating this monster in the closet that we're afraid to look at. It's at looking at it while it's still this piddly little molecule, where we flick the molecule off, as opposed to, oh, this big molecule turned into this boulder. We don't want to strap any boulders to our back. That's what this is. That's what this part is. That's what this step is. We endeavor to take a personal inventory daily, and where we're wrong, we freely admit it. We ask for forgiveness. Okay, so that's step 10. Step 11. Through surrender, forgiveness, and gratitude, I continue to improve my conscious contact with truth, love, and all of the characteristics of my Creator, praying only for God's will to be what guides my life, and for the power to carry out that will once presented. This is where we continually, throughout the day, throughout the rest of our life, surrender over our wants, our desires, things we are averse to, things we have attachments to. This is where the teaching of the Buddha comes in, where all suffering comes from attachments and aversions, belief systems, our positions, our judgments. So if we look at step 10 as endeavor daily to take a personal inventory where we're wrong, freely admit it, let's look at that as the end of the day, making a list mentally or down on a piece of paper of what we're going to make right the next day. Step 11, through surrender, forgiveness, and gratitude. And remember, gratitude/service. So one of the ways that I do this every day is that I'm either writing something of service to you that is of service to God. I'm either making a video, I'm either promoting something so that it gets to more people in a way that it can be delivered in as a gift. I'm having conversations. I'm in constant contact with God in this surrender process, in asking for forgiveness, in looking at every thought, feeling, emotion that arises. I'm not looking away from it. I'm continually practicing these 12 steps around the clock. And where they are now is a natural kind of buffer towards any thought, feeling, or emotion that arises. They are a natural introspection. They are a natural surrender process. Another way to think, another tool you could use for this is Byron Katie's, what she calls the work, where you look at a thought, a feeling, an emotion every time it arises, and you apply 4 simple questions to it and then a turnaround. You can look into that yourself. Byron Katie, Loving What Is a great way to practice this daily with every thought, feeling, and emotion, because what happens is it seems and sounds like a lot more work than what you're already doing, but it's not. Because within a few days of practicing the work, these questions start getting put through this matrix effortlessly and subconsciously, and truth is arrived at where you're no longer building these walls of judgments and fears and resentments. You're seeing through them and you're giving them to a power greater than yourself as they arise. The other part of this is, where can you be of service daily to your friends, to your spouse, to your loved ones, your family, your coworkers, your community, your state, your city? You can be something as simple as picking up trash as you're walking down the road and doing it in service to thee. As Krishna says, do all in service to me, and there I will be. Jesus says the same thing. The Buddha pretty much says the same thing. It's part of chasing after the way, being one with the way, is staying in contact with something greater than yourself throughout the day. You may have a totally different way to be of service. It may be through tutoring. It may be of giving your time. It may be of putting some extra money in that tip jar. Whatever it is, do it in service to God, and you are accomplishing this particular step. And what you'll see from this is the more you give honestly, earnestly, the more you surrender, the more you forgive, the more love fills you up. The more God presents an eternal nature of God into your awareness as aha moments, connected moments, seeing synchronicities, miracles, signs arrive around you constantly. You start seeing you are walking in the footsteps of love if you serve God by serving everything around you. Last step, step 12. Step 12. Having transcended fear and gained the knowledge needed to surrender over all attachments to the ego in all of its forms, I will be the change I wish to see in the world, and likewise am willing to sponsor another in going through the steps whenever the opportunity arises. Step 12 of this program, this final part of gratitude, is in giving this gift to someone else. It's in giving your time freely in this capacity of taking someone through the 12 steps found here in If You Live It. It's in being a sponsor. And there's all kinds of guidelines that we have in this particular chapter. And if you want to know more about this step in particular, this chapter in particular, it is the step on witnessing peace, chapter 12, step 12. You can find it on the website. You can find it on YouTube. You can go back, you can watch, you can learn more about it. In this particular capacity, though, you agree that when you have finished these steps, you're willing to take another through them. We do not proselytize these steps. We don't proselytize our spiritual life. There's actually a quote in this particular chapter that we go over, which is, "Those who know choose not to speak about it." If you're called to be a teacher out in the world, then you have to speak about personal experience. You have to speak about the reality of what truth is present to you, to the world. But not everybody is called to have the responsibility of teaching this. Many who chase after God, most who chase after God, will be able to report back miraculous things. But it's not about having to have your life cracked, completely open, laid bare at the feet of those who you're trying to serve in this capacity. But it is, in this particular program, being willing and saying to God, to a power greater than yourself, to thee, O Lord, I have finished these steps and I am willing to take another through them. When that time is right to serve you in that capacity, please present that person in this way. And you will be amazed at what happens and what God puts in front of your path in a person or people to start taking through these steps, pointing back to this material, pointing back to a meeting. Maybe it's you starting your own meeting in your community, just like we're starting here in April where I am in Pennsylvania and where we're going to be doing online. Maybe it's inviting people to come to these online meetings. You can find those through the website, through the meetings tab. We do 2 a month that will be online with the Zoom link there. You can join. Don't have to show your camera, don't have to speak, don't have to be part of it other than just being part of the community that joins in person. Over time, these meetings will spread across the world. It is being developed at this point in time out of my control, but I'm starting to get bits and pieces that in January of 2026, it looks like we will be going and having some kind of a 12-step tour of this modern pathway to enlightenment satsang series in northern India and other places. I've been told to take this into prisons and jails. I've been told that this will go around the world in these gatherings where we teach together and we experience together these 12 steps working in our life, where we talk about enlightenment, where we talk about God, where we bring these spiritual truths into 3D in front of you. So keep an eye out for that. We'll see if that continues to develop or not. But this will be something in proximity to you, or when you finish these steps, something you can start in your own community. On the days that we have our in-person ones here, you have your in-person ones there. Or create an in-person group where we do this virtual one and have your entire group participate in it. There are so many ways that you can go about starting your own If You Live a 12-step group, but you cannot do such unless you've worked these programs, you've worked these steps for yourself. Steps 10, 11, and 12 are daily things we do. 12, being willing to take someone through this. 11, surrendering it over when it comes up and arises into awareness. Serving our community, serving our world around us. And 10, where we're every day, we're looking at where we need to make an amends the next day, where we need to make something right in the moment. You don't have to wait till the night to make something right the next day. If you say something goofy, if you do something out of character, go right to that person. Don't live in the juice of the anger that comes from it or of being right. It is much, much, much better to be happy than to be right. Okay, and the way that we find happy, which is another word, a byproduct for gratitude, is in asking for forgiveness when we've done something that it requires it. It's not giving our opinion unless it's asked for. It's in not proselytizing with words. Instead, choose to embody by being the change you wish to see in the world with your feet, with your actions. This entire video is about gratitude and in part about service. Thank you for being here. Again, I'm Mason Wooldridge. This is If You Live It. You can find all this information on ifyouliveit.com under the catalog function. You can go to the book, you can go to these conversations, you can go to the total collection, you can go to deliberate devotion. We have something else pretty cool that's going to be starting in about a month or so, which is called Get Busy Living, which are maxims for life, where we go into the how to really dive into using each of these maxims as a truth in our daily life for surrender, for forgiveness, for gratitude/service. Those books are going to be phenomenal. As a book, they probably won't come out until 2026. But again, everything we do here at If You Live It, we give to you free first, before it's ever in print. If you find value in this and you'd like to have the book, feel free to purchase it. But everything we do, we give away here. So it lives for free for you. So there is no barrier. You need nothing, no money. Go to, if you're in a McDonald's, if you're at a cafe, if you're somewhere where you're just hiking internet, that's all you need, a device for internet, to download this, to see it, to read it, to listen to it, free to you. Everything is always free forever. All the proceeds from books go towards these teaching series, go towards giving books away, go towards this prison ministry of this. Go towards giving this information to the world. So your funds are not going into a world where that's how I'm going to pay for life. Right now, I have businesses that provide more than that's needed for life. This is all to give away to the world. All of this. Many blessings. I hope this video spoken to you in a particular way. Maybe it's characterized gratitude from a perspective that maybe you haven't seen, maybe you have seen, maybe you're currently experiencing. If you are coming from a place of gratitude, keep rocking, baby. Keep living. Much love. Until next time, many blessings.
Yeah.